guys, this will be my review of One Piece chapter 836, the Weaver card that Lola gave. And, well, the title says it all. We start off with Nami, having realized that Lola, I know that person. She gave me a Weaver card to her mother back in Thriller Bark. Could it be that she's actually Big Mom's daughter? So now we have that out of the way, and Lola's Weaver card is finally gonna be a big plot point. But let's move on to that a little bit later when it gets important in the chapter. So right after Nami has figured this out, we have a random attack from Randolph and his crane, but he is stopped very brutally by Cracker, who's just like, stop. And apparently he is so scary that the trees around them wither with fear. And at first this reminded me a bit of how Zoro took out Monet in Punk Hazard, but the more I thought about it, the more it makes sense. If you remember back in the chapter where Big Mom had her like crazy eating cravings and she killed one of her sons, a person said that if you cower, she will take your life, or something along those lines. And I think because these trees are infused with Big Mom's soul, or like from her, they're given life because of her power, I think that they use the same rules. So if they fear or have fear in their hearts, they will literally, the life will leave them. I think there's a saying about that, if you fear something then life will leave you or something. So I think that might be what is happening, and that might come into play later. We then find out that Randolph is actually acting without orders, so Cracker is like, what are you doing here? No one told you to be here, and Randolph weirdly blames it on the crane. But I think this is actually really important that Randolph is acting not on Big Mom's orders, because then why is he there? Why is he attacking them if he has not been told to do so? Because everybody else in this forest, except for the apple juice guy, whose name is Pound by the way, they have been told to go after the Straw Hats and either stall them or make sure that they don't get to Sanji, and Randolph is just acting on his own, which is strange. So I'm thinking maybe he has some kind of motive, because I don't think that Big Mom's subordinates are just going around doing whatever, because she would probably not want them to do that, because they could easily do something to mess up one of her plans, and I don't think she would accept that. So I'm thinking that Randolph might be really important down the road. As I said in my live reaction, Randolph is the White Rabbit, and since we have this Alice in Wonderland theme, the White Rabbit is the one that they are supposed to chase until they get to the Queen, in this case Big Mom. So Randolph might end up being their guide, whether or not he wants it or not. Then we also have a little nice comment about Luffy acknowledging Cracker's strength, which is important because later in the chapter they do end up starting a fight. And for Luffy to acknowledge other people's strength is something that I always find super interesting, especially because he doesn't outright say it a lot, but when he does, you know that the opponent he's facing is super strong. And this is not even the main antagonist of this arc, this is just one of Big Mom's 3 commanders. What I think this might tell us is that Luffy is actually not ready to actually fight the Yonkos head on. We know that Oda has not figured out how the hell Luffy will beat Kaido, and I don't think that Luffy will end up battling Big Mom in this arc, whether or not she will be an enemy. I think that if she will end up as an enemy, they will have to find some other way to either get out of her grasp, to defeat her, or just find another time to fight her, because I don't think that Luffy is ready. We also get the confirmation that Ichiji and Niji are indeed coming this afternoon, because it is still nighttime, so in a couple of hours, whenever the sun is rising and whatever, they will arrive. So we have this set up with the Vinsmokes, and now I'm kind of thinking, because they were mentioned and Luffy and Nami now know that they are on their way, I have a feeling that just like with Reiju and Yonji, they will meet Ichiji and Niji before they meet Sanji. And with they I mean his brothers. So before we see Sanji interacting with his older brothers, or other brothers as they are the same age, his brothers will interact with his crew first, somehow. I don't know how that will go down and how they'll just go separate ways afterwards, but I think that might happen, because I also think it would be interesting for Luffy to meet all of Sanji's brothers or all his family members before Sanji has an opportunity to tell Luffy what he thinks of those people, to allow Luffy to make some kind of impression for himself. After this, we have a conversation between Cracker and Brule and kind of the apple juice guy, and they reveal that Big Mom has actually wanted to join in a marriage alliance with the Gemma for quite some time now, and I think this might explain why why Papa Beansmoke was looking for Sanji 2 years ago. Because one thing that confused me quite a lot, I think it was 2 chapters ago, was that Sanji and his father of course don't have the best relationship and they really hate each other. Yet when we met Reiju, she said that as soon as Sanji's wanted posters started circulating, they began looking for him, and that's why Duval was attacked by the Marine headquarters. And I was really confused because why would you search for his son if you didn't like him at all? But now that Big Mom has revealed that she has been wanting the German for a long time, and we know that Papa Beansmoke didn't want to sacrifice one of his precious sons, it would then make sense for him to be, okay, I have Sanji, let's find him and just use him, as he said about 2 chapters ago. So that makes sense now. We also see that Brule has not only captured Carrot like she did in, 1 chapter ago, 2 chapters ago, but she has also captured Chopper. And of course, Luffy is minorly worried about this, but then Brule shatters the mirror and Chopper and Carrot are still okay. And I'm kind of thinking now, do you think that maybe Carrot and Chopper can move around from mirror to mirror? Because they are obviously not affected by the mirror they were captured in, but can they, in Harry Potter style, move around? So if they were to be in a room that had a lot of mirrors, they could kind of move along with them even though they couldn't get out of the mirror world. Because if they could, that would be a great opportunity to spy on people and just see what people are up to. Of course, this would also be a weird weakness for Brule's power, but all Devil Fruit abilities come with some kind of weakness beside the ocean thing, I feel like. In Crocodile's case, his Devil Fruit ability is completely useless if he gets wet, not only because of seawater obviously, but because it clumps his sand. In Robin's case, she gets hurt even if her artificial limbs are injured, and yeah, there are probably more that I'm forgetting, but Devil Fruit abilities aren't always overly powerful, and some of them do have these weaknesses. As this is all going on, the apple juice guy then begs Cracker, who's still holding him by his hair, which is super long, about him being able to see his daughters, Chiffon and Lola, and the Cracker is like, well, listen here, you are not a part of Big Mom's family. You are not blood related, therefore she doesn't care about you, which is super interesting because that's kind of like the complete opposite way that Luffy views family, because of course his crew is his family and none of them are blood related. Yet for Big Mom, unless you are blood related, you are not family. Not even her husbands, who she literally had kids with, are considered family because they do not share her blood. And I think that's super interesting, and I don't know whether or not that's something Luffy will be able to see eye to eye with, because as he said to Cracker, he's thoroughly pissed off because this dude has spent a lot of time with the apple juice guy, yet he doesn't care about him. And that's something that sets Luffy off, because usually if you spend a lot of time with a good person, you should care about them, and that's kind of what Luffy's all about. As Luffy and Cracker are kind of fighting, we have Nami and Pound running off, and we have Brule who sends the homies after her, but apparently because they can sense Big Mom's power coming from this girl, aka Nami, they cannot attack her. And at first I was a bit worried that this power that they felt came from Nami, like an actual Nami, but it's very clear from the way that the page is drawn that the power comes from the Weaver card. And if I remember correctly, the way a Weaver card is made is that you take a piece of a person, usually a fingernail or something, and you basically put this into this piece of paper to make the Weaver card. Now, imagine that you have taken a nail from Big Mom and put it into this card, yet this card still emits such a strong power that these trees physically cannot attack Nami. That should speak levels about how strong Big Mom if her Vivre card emits that strong power. But then as the homies find that they cannot attack Nami, Luffy gets thrown into a tree, and Nami's like, well, Luffy, we shouldn't fight this dude, you don't need to go all out yet, we need to find Sanji, he's our top priority. And Luffy just looks at the cracker dude and is like, you know what, the only thing I know is to go all out, so I'm fighting this guy. And it is revealed to us via Oda Box that this guy is actually worth 860 million, which is an insane bounty. I mean, it's not Jack level, but it's an insane bounty. And I'm kind of wondering whether or not it's solely based on his strength. I mean, Luffy did say that he was strong, but his bounty is higher than Luffy and Zoro's bounty put together. Like, that's insane. That's literally insane. That's such a high bounty. So I think maybe, especially also from Jack, we know that Jack has that 1 billion berry bounty. So I think that their status as one of the higher tier officers in Yonko armies give them that bit more in their bounty, because I think it's too early for Luffy to be fighting people whose bounty is solely based on strength when their bounty is so high. And I think I've been talking a lot about how I don't think that Luffy is ready for a lot of things. And it's really not because I think Luffy is weak, it's just because I think that the Yonko are so strong. And I really think that now that we're seeing how strong these officers are, Luffy will have to realize that he's not ready to fight Big Mom, at least not on his own, because right now, as I said in like a previous review, they not only have Big Mom to worry about, they also have the entire nation of the German Kingdom. So their opponents at the moment are so strong and so many, and Luffy only has half his crew, and one of them is captured in a mirror and the other one is wearing slave wristlets, which he doesn't know, but he knows that Sanji is in a position where he can't really do anything. He sent Brook and Pedro off on a mission where he doesn't know how to get to them, and they need to get to the rogue poneglyph without Luffy interfering, because if he interferes they will be found out, even though Big Mom is keeping tabs on them, but that's not important. So I think he will realize that they are in a position right now where brute strength and whatever Luffy has up in his sleeve is not enough. And they will need to make alliances wherever they can. And I think this is also the reason why Oda has been so consistently keeping the Straw Hats apart, because when they do fight a Yonko, when they finally get to Kaido, it's important to have the whole crew there, because this will be the first time, truly the first time, the Straw Hats will fight is as an entire crew. And that is what will set the standard for what their combined strength is. Because at the moment, as I've said 1,000 times now, each of them, and Luffy especially, they are not ready to fight the big players. They still have such a long way to go, and I don't think that Luffy will ever get to the level where he alone is going to be able to fight one of the strongest people, because he really is all about not being able to do everything by yourself. I think that his speech from Along Park, where he was like, I don't know how to fight with swords, I don't know how to navigate, I don't know how to cook, I don't know how to lie, but that's okay because I have people who can help me do those things, but what I can do is kick ass. So of course Luffy's going to be strong, but I still think that there are enemies he won't be able to take down by himself. That being said, I do want to see Luffy take down Kaido by himself, because Kaido has been set up to be a person that you cannot beat by yourself. So what I want to see is not Luffy taking him down purely by punching him in the face, as Oda has also said that his viewers will not be satisfied with that, but I want to see Luffy being smart, because Luffy is a smart character. He beat Enel with the powers of physics, basically. And if you remember back in the Barati arc, he beat Don Krieg by outsmarting him and being a cunning bastard, basically, because Luffy is very smart when it comes to fighting, and I think that's something that we all tend to forget, and I think maybe in his fight against Kaido that's something we'll see again. But that's for another video, I feel like. Now going back to the chapter. The last thing I want to mention is that the art in this chapter is amazing. If you saw my live reaction, I think I commented on the art quite a few times. The shots especially of Luffy fighting and just Luffy moving around were so fluent, and I could see from panel to panel how Luffy was moving, and it was very beautifully done. I always enjoy fight scenes in One Piece because they look so amazing. I think the only manga I have read that does fight scenes as well as that is Naruto, because they really do fight scenes well, whether or not you like the series. But yeah, that was really great because I really love the art in One Piece, and I think that in Dressrosa, it kind of fell a little bit. There were moments where the art wasn't looking all too impressive because I have high standards for Oda. He's a very good artist. But this chapter really reminded me of how much I love the art in One Piece. But yeah, I think that was everything that I wanted to say about this chapter. If you liked anything that I had to say, please leave a thumbs up and leave in the comments below what you thought of this chapter. And if you like me, then please subscribe to me. I also do reviews of Haikyuu and Shokugeki no Soma, and those reviews should be up later today, so look forward to those. And until next time, bye!